documents related to the purchase of supplies, including details about suppliers and contractors.
Compliant, Your Honor.
Yung confidential fund of the Office of the Vice President were liquidated in accordance with the protocol provided for by the Joint Circular. Totoo po ba yan?
That is true po.
Would you also agree with me that the accomplishment report provided by the Office of the Vice President were 100% implemented?
Yes, Mr. Chair, the entire 125 million was liquidated.
Super Pinas TV. Super Pinas TV. Wow naman mga ka-super, eto na naman ang mga congressman at binalikan na naman ang mga nakakaumay na confidential fund ng Office of the Vice President. Grabe, akala po natin ay tapos na sila dito. Hanggang ngayon ba naman ay tinalakay pa rin itong walang kwentang hearing na ito? Mantakilin nyo mga ka-super, mukhang ilang buwan na ang nakalipas ay OVP pa rin ang laman ng hearing ng Kamara. Samantala na merong mas maraming problema ang dapat pagtuunan ng pansin para magawa ng batas katulad ng paglala ng droga, pagdami ng mga sindikato, patayan dito, patayan doon, mga nawawalang bata, pagmahal ng mga bilihin, at meron pa yung issue ng DSWD budget, PhilHealth at DOH na hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa nare-resolba. Habang dito naman sa pagdinig kasama ang COA ay tila Butata po si Congressman Acop mga ka-super dahil nakakumply naman pala sa lahat ng requirements ang OVP sa kanilang confidential fund. Ano pa ba ang gusto nilang palabasin? Tila ba ay pilit talaga nilang hahanapan ng butas? Hay nako naman, nakakahiya na po kayo mga buwaya kayo. Panoorin po natin ito mga ka-super.
Grabe, no? Talagang pinapanindigan ng mga buwaya ang kanilang pagkaltas sa budget sa Office of the Vice President. Basahin natin. Update. The House of Representatives finalizes its decision to reduce the Office of the Vice President's budget by 1.3 billion. The slashed funds will be reallocated to the Health and Social Welfare Departments. Grabe, no? Actually, alam nyo mga Lodi Cakes, hindi naman si VP Inday Sara ang talo dito eh. Alam mo sino? Ang mga benepisyo, ang mga Pilipinong natutulungan ng Office of the Vice President. Pero since ang mga buwaya ay, di ba, tingin nila kay VP Inday Sara ay kompetensya, kaya puputulan nila ng pakpak. 'Di ba? Babawasan nila ng budget kasi ang tingin nila kay VP Inday Sara, kompetensya eh. Kasi sa totoo lang, mas magaling pa kasi si VP Inday Sarang maghatid ng tulong sa mga kababayan natin kaysa sa mga buwayang mga hinayupak na yan eh. Ha? Kaya, ganun talaga, no? Sa administrasyon ngayon, kung sino ang nagtatrabaho ng maayos, kung sino ang mas maraming natulungan, gigipitin nila, 'di ba? Kukunan nila ng budget, gigipitin nila para hindi makalipad. Pero well, sabi pa nga ni VP Inday Sara, zero budget man or kahit magkanong budget yan, 'di ba? Minimake sure pa rin ng Office of the Vice President na makakapaghatid pa rin ng tulong at serbisyo sa mga Pilipino. Pero alam niyo mga Lords, what's more important ngayon? Yung na-reveal, at nakita natin ang totoong kulay ng mga buwaya na yan. And even our president, napakatahimik niya, no? Pagdating kay Vice President Inday Sara, pansinin niyo mga Lords, hindi niya pinagtatanggol, di ba? Kumbaga, wala siyang pakialam, no? Na imaginein mo, pinagsisisira na siya ng mga buwaya, di ba? At mga kaalyado ng ating presidente. Pero ang ating presidente, wala pa ring pakialam. Kaya, tamang desisyon talaga yung ginawa ni VP Inday Sara na tumaliwas. Dapat lang. And tandaan natin mga Lords, naniniwala ako, di ba? Soon, yung mga buwaya na yan, at mga Marcos na yan, soon, lalapit pa rin yan sa mga Duterte. Lalapit din kayo later on sa mga Duterte. Pero at least, alam na namin mga karakas nyo.
I think we have required the Department of Budget and Management to provide a copy of the letter request from the Office of the Vice President for the release of contingent funds in some requests for personal services and maintenance and operating expenses in 2022. Was this complied?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yeah, DVM. May I know if the Commission on Audit, which was required to submit the following, a copy of the letter sent by the OVP through Attorney Lopez instructing the COA not to comply with the subpoena duces tecum issued by the House Committee on Appropriations.
Yes, Your Honor. Also complied by the Commission on Audit.
Documents related to the OVP's liquidation of the 125 million confidential funds.
Yes, Your Honor. Complied.
Documents related to the purchase of information, including details about how the 14 million pesos was spent and for what information.
Complied as well, Your Honor.
Documents related to the payment of cash reward, including details about the recipients and purpose of the rewards.
Complied as well, Your Honor.
Documents related to the OVP's safe houses, including the number of safe houses, their locations, and maintenance costs.
Complied, Your Honor.
Documents related to the purchase of supplies, including details about suppliers and contractors.
Complied, Your Honor.
All attachments and documents related to the notice of disallowance issued by the Commission on Audit regarding the OVP's budget.
Complied, Your Honor.
And the audit action, in this case, the notice of disallowance and the liquidation report for the OVP's confidential funds.
Complied, Your Honor.
All supporting documents related to the Office of the Vice President's confidential funds as deemed necessary by the COA Intelligence and Confidential Funds Audit Unit for proper evaluation of the liquidation documents submitted.
Complied, Your Honor.
Documents related to the OVP's purchase of supplies, including details about suppliers and contractors.
Complied, Your Honor.
Documents related to the OVP's provision of medical and food aid, including details about the recipients and the specific types of medical supplies and food.
Complied, Your Honor.
Documents related to the OVP's surveillance activities, including details about the specific areas where these or where those activities were conducted.
Complied, Your Honor.
And data on the extent of the proper implementation of the school-based feeding program, including the amount of funds affected.
Complied, Your Honor.
Now, for COA's Mr. Fahad bin Abdul Malik Tumawis, he was required to submit the following, or the rental data for the OVP's head office, 10 satellite offices, and 2 extension offices, including the square footage of each office space, lease commencement dates, and a breakdown of rental costs for each type of rental. Was this submitted by Mr. Tumawis?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Now, COA's attorney Gloria A. Kamara was required to submit the following, or was required to submit copies of the rental or lease agreement for the 10 satellite offices and 2 extension offices of the Office of the Vice President.
Complied as well, Your Honor.
The Bureau of Treasury, Mr. Cadorna, was required to submit a position paper on the salary grades, accountability, and fidelity band coverage for STOs, or Special Disbursement Officers.
Complied as well, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Rinaldo Monsayak, to submit records of the conversation he had with Yusek Mercado and other DepEd officials during the lunch meeting in Linden Suites.
Not yet, Your Honor.
Not yet. And lastly, Mr. Chair, Mr. Dexter A. Galban was required to submit the following: a full report of the actions taken by DepEd to address the issues flagged by the COA regarding the school-based feeding program, a list of the suppliers involved in such program, a report on the issues encountered in the program's implementation in previous years, and data on the number of schools and students affected by the lapses in implementation. Did Mr. Dexter Galban, DepEd Assistant Secretary for Operations, submit these requirements, Mr. Chair?
At present, Your Honor, the Secretariat is not in receipt of said documents.
He has not submitted.
None to the knowledge of the Secretariat, Your Honor. None in the email as well, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is Mr. Monsayak present? I think. Do you know of this requirement?
Your Honor, to be honest, I just learned of this requirement today.
Okay.
I did not receive any order or document or email requiring me to submit this, Your Honor.
Now you know that you were required to submit records of that conversation.
Yes, Your
Did you
Honor,
submit, sir?
I will comply, Your Honor.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Dexter Galban, is he around?
Take your seat.
Mr. Galban, did you know of this requirement for you to submit certain documents?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And may I know the reason why you haven't complied with this requirement?
We are confirming, as we have already prepared the reports prior, we shall confirm with the team for the transmittal of the documents because we already prepared the answers for such, Mr. Chair. We do hope to transmit while this committee is ongoing.
In other words, you're going to submit the required documents today.
We will check, sir, if there was a
My
problem in the
question is,
transmission.
are you trying to tell us that you will submit the documents required today?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, marami pong salamat for the administrative requirements. Thank you.
Okay na? Okay, meron pa po bang ibang gustong mag-manifest? Wala na po. We will now proceed to the continuation of the deliberation and interpellation. But before we proceed, the Chair would like to recognize the presence of the Honorable Senior Vice Chairperson, the Honorable Bienvenido M. Abante Jr. from the 6th District of Manila, the Honorable Ernesto M. Junicio Jr. from the 1st District of Manila, and the Honorable Jervil B. Luistro from the 2nd District of Batangas. Ma'am.
New resource persons. Your Honor, I would also like to recognize the pleasure of the members. New resource persons, Director 4, Heidi Espelas from the Commission on Audit, and from the Department of Education, Director 4 and back 4 Chairperson, Attorney Resty Osias. Thank you.
Okay, before we proceed to the interpellation proper, may I request the COMSEC to please administer the oath of the new invitees.
Thank you, Your Honor. To all the new resource persons invited and present today, kindly stand up and raise your right hand. All members of the Philippine Army as well, sirs, please stand up. Even those in the panel newly invited, sir. All right. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the statements you will give before this committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? The oath has been administered, Your Honor.
Thank you. We will now proceed. The first to interpolate, the Honorable Romeo Acop. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and magandang umaga po sa atin lahat. Mr. Chair, I would just like to proceed or continue my interpellation in the second hearing for COA. Kasi in the last hearing, COA, Attorney Kamara, are you? Yes. Kayo po ang sumagot nung tinanong ko kung yung confidential funds of the Office of the Vice President were liquidated in accordance with the protocol provided for by the Joint Circular. Kayo po ang sumagot doon, di po ba? At sinabi po ninyo na the liquidation was done in accordance with the protocol provided by the circular. Totoo po ba yan?
Attorney Kamara.
That is true po,
That is true.
Mr. Chair.
Okay. And kayo po ba ay sumasang-ayon sa akin na yung liquidation is merely a documentary checklist and does not actually show that the expenses are actually reasonable or even true? Would you agree with that?
I would have to agree, Mr. Chair.
Pakiulit po.
Agree po, it's documentary. It's.
Do you agree with my statement, Madam?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And would you agree also that the confidential funds of the Office of the Vice President are public funds?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And would you agree that COA or the Commission on Audit, your agency, is the agency or government agency which is supposed to be the guardian to see to it that public funds are spent properly? Would you agree with that also?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Now, since you have stated that the office of the Vice President liquidated its confidential funds required under joint circular, would you also agree with me that the accomplishment report provided by the office of the Vice President were 100% implemented?
Mr. Chair, what do you mean by 100% implemented po?
Na-implement ba yung pag-liquidate nung amount of 125 million as confidential fund of the office of the Vice President?
Yes, Mr. Chair, the entire 125 million was liquidated.
And would you agree with me that the documentary pieces of evidence submitted by the office of the Vice President were merely acknowledgement receipts? Would you agree with me?
The documentary evidence of payment, yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, and could you give me the specifics insofar as the acknowledgement receipts submitted for the expenses insofar as the confidential fund of the OVP is concerned? Could you give us how much is for the rental of safe houses? How much would be the amount for purchase of information? Do we
For-
have the number of acknowledgement receipts submitted by the OVP?
For what account, Mr. Chair?
Rental of safe houses?
For rental for the period fourth quarter 2022 po.
Yes.
It's 16 million po, Mr. Chair.
Rental of safe houses.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
The rental is for 11 days? Would you agree with me?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Since the accomplishment report
Pursuant to
provides-
the accomplishment report, yung amount for the rental of safe houses were paid for 11 days.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Tama po?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. How about, and how many acknowledgement receipts were submitted for this?
Mr. Chair, for rental of safe houses, we received 34 acknowledgement receipts.